gonna go ahead and start recording. So like, you know, we get the creative process here.
Yeah. Okay. So, don't start. Did you already start? Oh shit. Okay. Don't like. Okay, this one's a practice one anyway.
I'm gonna perform this one.
No. Okay. Well, I have two, but I guess the one I had to overcome was when I like got high accidentally. Because I had an edible.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so the first one, usually my mom tells it. I was at Lowe's and with my family, and my dad was like having a crummy day, and I don't know if his like blood sugar was high or something or whatever, but I remember like I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna like go up to him and like just give him like a hug, you know?
Yeah.
And so my parents walked away and I went to go get a drink, and I came back and I saw who I thought was my dad, and like this like right in front of an aisle, and he's just standing there with his back towards me. My dad's like a hefty guy, and so me not really like seeing his face and stuff, so I just go up behind this dude and like I caress like his stomach. Like, so I like go up behind him and I like rub my hands like around his belly, like really slow and like lovingly. And so I'm like doing this and I'm like, I love you, Dad. And this dude's like, excuse me? And I was just like my face is just like, oh my God. And my parents are walking back like this way. And my dad was just, they were laughing. They were staring at me the whole time. They were just laughing. And he was like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm so sorry. I thought you were my dad. Because they were in like the same shirt.
Yeah.
And they had like the same body figure.
Yeah.
And it was so embarrassing.
That
and so,
bites.
Yeah, so my mom would always tell everybody, hey, remember that time at Lowe's? And I was just like, Mom, stop.
No, that's really funny. I like that. That's a good story. I might have to tell that one. I like that a lot. Okay. Number two.
So I used to work at Honda in Irving. And I worked really late, but I had class in the morning. And so when I got home, my roommate texted me during work. He's like, hey, I'm gonna make some brownies. Do you want me to make you a separate batch? And I was like, yeah, sure, okay. So I get home, he's in the shower all late, and I'm like, because he was gonna make pot brownies. And so I text him, and he didn't answer. And I was like, oh, he's in the shower. So when I get home, I'm like knocking on the door, I'm like, hey, which ones are mine? And he's like, in the stove. Or no, he said on the stove, but he meant in the stove. So his batch were pot brownies. Yeah. And like we have like this heavy like square pan, so they're just like really thick. It's like really thick brownies, right?
Oh no.
And I'm like, oh, okay. And so I cut a piece, and it was like warm, and like I'm like, oh hell yeah, get a glass of milk or whatever. So I cut a piece, like a fat square, and I'm eating it. And like as soon as I finish and I'm drinking milk, like my throat feels like really scratchy. And I'm just like, oh, this is weird. Okay, whatever. So I go to bed because it's during finals week, and I have an 8 a.m. final.
Oh no.
An 8 a.m. final, and it's like 12:30, almost 1-ish, like around that time. And I'm like laying in bed. I'm like, I kind of start to sweat, and like this is like the second time I've ever been high in my life.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, and so like I'm just like laying in bed. I can't sleep. My thoughts are like, I'm just whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm just like laying there, and I'm like, what the heck, dude? And so I'm just like, whatever. Juan gets out like of the shower. He looks in the kitchen. He's like, bro, what did you do? And I was like, what do you mean? Which ones did you eat? And I was like, that was my batch, the ones on the stove. And he's like, no, those were mine. And I was like, no. And I was like laying there, I was like, wait, why? What did you do? What were they? And they're like, they're pot brownies for my party this weekend, to celebrate finals week. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And like that night, I could not sleep. And so like, mine were in the oven, and his were like, he meant mine were in the oven, not on the stove. Yeah. And I was just like, oh dear God, what am I gonna do? I was pissed off. And when I tried to go to sleep, like we had an argument, it was whatever. When I tried to go to sleep, like my bed's like this, right? So I'm like laying down, and I just feel my body do this, like just like that. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like I just couldn't sleep. And legit, I think I failed the final, but I passed the class.
Were you still high when you went to take the final?
I don't know. Because I was like sleep deprived, so I was just like, my mind.
Not sure like where the line is.
Yeah, and I was just like, man, like, I'm never doing that again. Like, not purposely, but you know, I was just like, I'm like, no. Anytime Quan offers,
Yeah.
it's a no.
Good decision. I like that. That actually, I'm gonna change my story because I have one that's a little bit similar, sort of.
So the third one was election.
And, yeah, the presidential election.
I remember watching the election at night. I was at TWU. I was studying with my ex and like some of her friends. Dang, I know we had class the next day because it was like during the week, I think. And then I don't know. I remember going to McDonald's and just getting chicken nuggets, and then I think that was it. I don't remember what I did, but I remember when Trump won and everybody's like freaking out and like,
Yeah.
you know, people were crying and like it was pretty interesting.
Good day. Wild day.
It was a crazy day, but I also feel like they use that as an outlet to over exaggerate to get like let out some feelings.
I
But
think so too. But you know, if it helps people, like, you know, go nuts, cry in the streets all you want. I'm not gonna stop you.
So yeah, I didn't really do much. I just remember those are some really good chicken nuggets. I remember they're like nice and like warm.
Crispy, fresh.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
I think that's it.